The man in the mask, they say every monster wears a mask on Halloween, but in one small town, the mask wasn't a costume. It was real skin. Every year on Halloween night, people in Mill Creek, Ohio, tell the same story about a man who walks the streets after dark, silent and still, wearing a white mask with no eyes. He doesn't knock, he doesn't chase, he just stands there watching. It's easy to dismiss it as a local legend. Until you learn that, one year, 3 children went missing, and the only thing anyone remembers seeing was him. It started in 1978. Back then, Mill Creek was the safest kind of suburb. Cookie-cutter houses, friendly neighbors, endless rows of orange-lit porches on Halloween. Families knew each other by name. Kids ran free. Nothing bad ever happened there, until that night. Parents remember it clearly. The air was colder than usual. The moon was a perfect half circle, hanging low above the woods. Around 8:45 p.m., people started noticing a figure at the end of Elmwood Street, tall, motionless, wearing a cracked white mask. He wasn't holding a candy bag. He wasn't walking with anyone. He just stood under the streetlight, head tilted slightly, facing the children. No one knew who he was. At 9:12 p.m., 2 kids, Robbie Miller and Claire Jenkins, were last seen at the corner by the woods. A neighbor waved to them as they ran down the street. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. Their candy bags were found the next morning, dumped near the Old Creek Path. Police searched for weeks. Nothing. The case went cold. But people kept reporting strange sightings after that, always on Halloween night. Always that same mask. The police sketches were useless. Some said the mask looked like plaster. Others swore it looked like human skin painted white. Everyone described the same thing. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth, pale nothingness. Decades passed, but the legend didn't fade. Kids dared each other to walk to the woods at midnight. Teenagers claimed they saw a man watching them from the trees. Adults ignored it until it was their child who went missing. And then in 2019, a true crime podcaster named Erin Black decided to investigate. She'd grown up in Mill Creek and wanted to prove it was all small-town hysteria. For her Halloween special, she returned home with her recording gear, determined to uncover the truth behind the man in the mask. Her first few days were uneventful. Interviews with old residents, grainy newspaper clippings, dusty police files. Most people just laughed when she asked, until she met Mr. Harrington. He was 82, pale and fragile, living in a decaying house near the woods. When Erin brought up the legend, his hands began to shake. He said softly, "You shouldn't be asking about him. He doesn't like when people remember." Erin leaned forward. "Who doesn't?" "Oh, the man in the mask," he whispered. "He's not gone. The woods remember him. Halloween night came." Erin walked the trail alone, recording every step. Her voice on the tape is calm at first. "This is the path where Robbie and Claire disappeared," she says. "It's colder than it should be." The air feels heavy. Then her voice changes. "Wait, I think I see something." There's silence for a few seconds, then a faint sound, deep and rhythmic. Breathing. She whispers, "Hello?" The tape crackles. Something moves in the distance. Branches snap. Her breathing speeds up. Her breathing speeds up. And then you hear it. A man's voice, low and close. "You shouldn't have come back." Erin screams. The recording ends there. 2 days later, hikers found her camera near the riverbank. The footage showed her flashlight flickering, her hands shaking. At one point, she turns the camera toward the trees, and there he is, the man in the white mask, motionless, just standing there. She runs. The camera tumbles, catching only flashes of movement. But right before it cuts to black, you can see the mask again, closer this time, only inches from the lens. Police searched the woods for days. They found nothing. No body, no tracks, no sign of Erin. But what they did find was something inside Mr. Harrington's burned-down house. Hidden in the basement was a box containing 6 masks, real ones. Each one was made from stretched, dried skin, painted bone white. Forensics confirmed that 2 of them belonged to Robbie and Claire. The other 4 didn't match anyone in local records. People assumed Mr. Harrington was the killer. But his DNA didn't match anything on the masks. He wasn't the man in the mask. He'd just known him. Maybe even feared him. The police sealed the woods. But on the next Halloween, reports started again. People said they saw someone standing by the tree line, watching from the dark. And then a new video appeared online. A grainy clip uploaded to an anonymous account. It showed a quiet suburban street. Kids laughing, a camera panning slowly to the end of the block. There he was, standing perfectly still under a streetlight. The same white mask. No eyes, no mouth, no mouth. The video cut off after 3 seconds. The account was deleted. But before it vanished, thousands of people had already seen it. The caption read only, he's back. Now every Halloween, someone in Mill Creek swears they've seen him again, standing at the end of their driveway, behind a fence, outside a window, just watching. People say if you see him, don't move, don't run, don't speak. Slowly turn away, go inside, lock every door, and never ever look back out the window. Because if you do, you'll notice something that'll make your blood run cold. The mask isn't made of plastic. It's made of skin, and it's smiling. The Midnight Game, there's a game that people say can summon something into your home. Something ancient that hunts you for hours. It isn't a myth, it's real, and people who've played it were never seen again. It was Halloween night when 3 college friends, Lisa, Jordan, and Ty, decided to play what they thought was just an internet challenge. They found the instructions online, posted on a dark forum that claimed to host real occult rituals. The Midnight Game, it said, was an ancient punishment ritual used by a forgotten pagan cult. But the post didn't just explain the steps. It warned, do not play this unless you're ready to meet him. They laughed about it. They were college kids, too old for trick-or-treating, too young to care about consequences. The idea of summoning something sounded thrilling. So in their dorm room, they prepared everything exactly as instructed. 3 candles, 3 sheets of paper, a knife, and a wooden door. They each wrote their full name on the paper, pricked their fingers, and dropped a bit of blood onto the page. At 11:59, they placed the papers on the floor in front of the door. Then came the knocking, 22 knocks. The last one had to land exactly at midnight. Exactly at midnight. When the final knock echoed, every candle went out at once. The air turned cold, heavy, suffocating. For a moment, no one moved. Then Ty whispered, I guess he's here. According to the rules, they had to relight their candles and keep walking through the building until 3:33 a.m. They couldn't stop moving and they couldn't leave. If their candle went out, they had 10 seconds to relight it. If they didn't, the Midnight Man would find them. They started down the hallway, whispering, giggling, trying to play it off as fun. But then Lisa's candle began to flicker. The flame twisted and went out. Her breath hitched as she fumbled for the lighter. Ty started counting softly. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. Just before he reached 10, the flame caught again. The air instantly lightened. For a second, they all laughed. But then they heard it. A faint whisper. It sounded like someone saying Lisa's name, but from far away, as if through walls. Jordan said it was just the wind, but moments later, they all froze. From the far end of the hallway, a woman's voice called out, Jordan, come home. It was soft, broken, and familiar. Jordan whispered. Oh, Lisa grabbed his arm. Jordan, don't. It's him. It's not her. But Jordan shook her off. I know my mom's voice. He walked toward the sound. His candlelight disappeared around the corner. A minute later, there was a low, dragging noise. And then silence. Lisa and Ty were alone. They didn't speak. Every sound was amplified. Their footsteps, their breathing, the faint scratch of wind through the windows. But it wasn't just the wind anymore. It was whispering. A dozen voices overlapping softly, breathing their names. Around 2:15 a.m., Lisa's candle went out again. She dropped to her knees, frantically trying to light it, but the lighter wouldn't spark. The air grew colder, thicker. Ty saw her candle flicker back to life, but the flame was black. The flame was black. Then a low, raspy whisper came from behind her ear. You broke the circle. Lisa screamed, and before Ty could move, she was gone. The candle rolled across the floor, still burning black. Ty ran. He didn't stop to look back. The whispers followed him, echoing from everywhere. They weren't random anymore. They were voices he recognized. Lisa's voice, Jordan's, his mother's, all calling his name. He locked himself in his room, clutching his candle. It trembled in his hand as he stared at the clock on his phone. 3:32 a.m. 1 more minute. He whispered to himself, don't go out. Don't go out. At 3:33, the air went still. The candle burned steady. He exhaled, tears running down his face. The game was over. When morning came, Ty was found unconscious by a resident advisor. He woke up, but he couldn't speak. He never talked again. He never talked again. Lisa and Jordan were gone. The room was empty except for 3 melted candles and a message carved into the wooden floor. It said, play again soon. The dorm room is still sealed today. No one is allowed inside. But every Halloween night, students swear they hear 22 knocks echoing through the hall. Some say if you stop to listen, you'll hear a voice whisper your name, and if you answer it, the game begins again. The elevator to hell, there's a ritual that can take you to another world. You don't need magic or candles or blood, just an elevator. You press the buttons in a certain order, and if you do it right, you'll go somewhere else. Somewhere that looks exactly like your world, but it isn't. The story goes back decades, but most people first heard of it after a real incident in 2013. A woman named Elisa Lamb was found dead inside a hotel water tank in Los Angeles after behaving strangely in the elevator. Security footage showed her pressing buttons, hiding, peeking out, terrified. No one ever saw her leave the elevator. Some people believe she was playing the elevator game. 10 years later, 3 urban explorers in Seoul decided to test it. Their names were Mina, Devin, and Ray. They ran a small YouTube channel about abandoned buildings, and one night they found an old hospital on the outskirts of the city that had been shut down since the 1980s. It had a grim reputation. Patients had vanished there before it closed. When they entered, the power was dead, the halls were silent, but one elevator still worked. Its doors opened automatically as they approached, as if waiting for them. Devin grinned. Ah, perfect. This is it. Mina hesitated. You sure you want to do this? Ray whispered. We're already here. The rules were simple. You must ride alone and visit the floors in the exact order. 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. When you reach the 5th floor, a woman may enter. Do not speak to her. Do not look at her. Then if you press the button for the 1st floor, the elevator will instead take you somewhere else. They pressed record and began. The elevator groaned as it moved. The old lights flickered. Each floor felt longer than the last. When they reached the 5th floor, the doors slid open. She was standing there, a woman in a hospital gown, barefoot, her long black hair hiding her face. Without a word, she stepped inside. Mina's heart pounded. Ray looked away. Devin stared straight at the numbers on the wall, his face pale. The elevator continued upward. The woman didn't move, but the air smelled of blood and dust. When the doors opened again, they expected the lobby. Instead, a red light spilled in. The hallway outside looked exactly like the hospital they had entered, but wrong. Everything was darker, quieter. The shadows seemed alive. Devin whispered, "This isn't the lobby." They stepped out. The elevator doors closed behind them with a heavy thud. They began to walk. Every sound echoed. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above, but there were no other noises. When they passed a mirror, Mina froze. Their reflections were delayed. They moved a second too late. Then their reflections smiled. Ray screamed. Smiled. Ray screamed. The reflections began to walk forward, pressing their hands against the glass. The sound of cracking echoed as the glass began to fracture. Devin grabbed Mina's arm and ran. Back to the elevator. Now, they reached the doors and started pressing the buttons. The elevator shuddered violently. The woman in white appeared again inside the car, her head tilted toward them. Her voice was soft and broken. "You shouldn't have looked." Mina screamed as Devin's reflection stepped out of the mirror and grabbed him. The elevator doors slammed shut. Hours later, Mina was found outside the building, barefoot, shaking. Her eyes were empty. She kept whispering the floor sequence under her breath. Her friends were never found. When police checked the hospital, the elevator was still working. The buttons were warm to the touch. The CCTV showed nothing, except for one strange clip. The elevator doors opening by themselves. A figure in white standing just inside. Weeks later, Mina posted one last video to her channel. She didn't speak in it. She just filmed herself inside an elevator, pressing the sequence again. At the 5th floor, the doors opened to that same red-lit hallway. Then the screen turned to static. The hospital was demolished a year later, but construction workers still swear one of the old shafts operates on its own. The elevator moves up and down without power. Sometimes the numbers light up on their own. 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. If you ever ride an elevator alone late at night and the doors open to a hallway you don't recognize, step back inside immediately. And whatever you do, don't look at the woman in white when she enters. Because if you do, you'll never see your world again.